what it is that the subconscious mind is, what it can do, and why we really want to be paying attention to our subconscious mind, and how working with our subconscious mind can create the true change, accessible change that expands our lives, creates safety in our body, and allows us to have access to a brilliant support system that is of us, that's within us, that's really going to create those changes that can lead and forge that pathway into a life that for you feels creative, curious, and connected. I started cognitively working with my subconscious mind when I was looking for solutions for the premenstrual dysphoric disorder that I experienced from the ages of 13 to 23. PMDD it's life-threatening, it's horrible, it's this for half of your cycle every single month, and it's incredibly common for women who've experienced trauma and women who are ADHD and or autistic, which when left undiagnosed, more often than not is an inherently traumatic experience. So PMDD, ADHD and autism go hand in hand alongside with PMDD and trauma. I really strongly feel like PMDD is a trauma response that we're experiencing every month until we have that light bulb moment of, okay, instead of fighting this PMDD and seeing it as the enemy, I am going to go in and find that place within myself, the subconscious mind, that's going to give me the insight and the answers as to why this is happening to me. And that is how I gained access and insight to working with a hypnotherapist, discovering rapid transformational therapy, and finally closing the door, fully understanding and repurposing the PMDD that I used to experience. I do not experience PMDD anymore. I didn't go on birth control. I didn't have to get a hysterectomy. I didn't get put on bioidentical hormones. I didn't write my progesterone intolerance / lack thereof, depending on where you're at with that journey. I work with my subconscious mind. The reason that this was so effective is because the subconscious mind is in charge of 98% of what it is that we experience. 98%. It's in charge of everything from our belief systems to our identity to the way that we respond to things. Our subconscious mind holds all of our long-term memory. It's in charge of our immune system alongside our autonomic nervous system. So right now, my subconscious mind and your subconscious mind is fully responsible for my heart rate, for my autophagy, for all of the cells being born and equally dying. It's in charge of so much, so that by utilizing the power of our subconscious mind, life really gets to change. That's why brilliant people such as Marissa Peer, the founder of Rapid Transformational Therapy, speak so deeply on the mind, especially in how once we change our mind, we can truly change our lives. I am lived evidence of this. It would have been all too easy for me to stay sick, sad, and stuck and stoned. Too easy. And by working with my subconscious mind, I have changed the game for myself over and over and over again. And I've given myself this, I want to call it a cheat code, but it's not. I've given myself the ability to really work with my human condition in a way that's optimal and exciting. And I can apply all of my creativity and curiosity to my subconscious mind and create amazing outcomes, truly beautiful results. So let's talk a little bit more about how this happens and how this works. Let's begin our deep dive into the subconscious by, I want to read to you. I've written this down because I don't want to get anything wrong. I feel like with my thoughts and feelings, I can riff, but when it comes to history, I'd rather have it written so that I can speak this through with you. The subconscious mind is so fascinating and so interesting, and yet people don't get it. It's seen as like this mysterious thing, the unseen. We are living the results of the state of our subconscious mind each and every day. How I'm showing up with you right now is being discerned by my subconscious. The way in which you're receiving what I'm saying is being filtered through that subconscious veneer of your beliefs and your principles and the way that you react and respond to things, all to do with the subconscious mind. The way that we can work with the subconscious mind is through hypnotherapy. Now, hypno means to sleep, but it's not a sleep of you, it's a sleep of the nervous system, which is brilliant because our nervous systems are so reactive. They're here to literally keep us alive. They're constantly adjusting and responding to things. When we want to be able to really look at our history and the way that we react and the way that we are, by alleviating the influence of our nervous system, by putting your nervous system into a sleep, we can really go so much deeper. We can gain so much more of an objective understanding and a view of why we are the way we are, what we do, why we do that, why is that happening, why am I reacting this way? And that's really powerful. I don't know about you. I know for myself, I've spent many an hour in a CBT or a talking therapy based modality, going around and around. Well, maybe I do this because of this, but also I do this because of this. I feel exhausted from picking at very emotionally active scars, scabs, woundings. When we work with the subconscious mind, we are alleviating our nervous system so that we can explore and peel back, rootle around what's happened for us, from a place that feels safe and calm and supportive, so that oftentimes after a hypnotherapy session, you don't leave, as you do sometimes in a talk therapy session, like, I need a Costa and a snack so that I can artificially calm myself down. After a hypnotherapy session, you leave with resolution and that sense of calmness, and you've really generated feelings that are welcome and lovely. I'd love to talk with you about the history of hypnotherapy and how it came to be. I am going to be reading to you from a screen. It feels inauthentic to suddenly sit here like, let me memorize this in case I get it wrong. So, we're going to uncover what may right now feel like a mystery of the history of hypnotherapy, but really it's so fascinating, and it's really interesting how this modality, which is so powerful and influential and designed for us, it works with us, through us, as us. You know, we're not dumping a bunch of psychology models in and being like, do you fit with this? No, let's try this model. The client directs this. Literally, the client sets the scene. You get to be the director, and it's my job as the hypnotherapist to support you to really control your window of focus and to keep you in that state that feels serene and calm and safe here, and ask a lot of questions. But knowing that because you're within your subconscious mind, because you have access to more of your mind, you have clearer answers. So instead of in a cognitive situation where you're like, maybe it's this, when you're in hypnosis, you know. And to cover that one really quickly, hypnosis is the state of mind wherein we have access to our subconscious mind. Hypnotherapy is where you combine that state of mind with therapeutic interventions. Beautiful. So there's not one type of hypnotherapy. Everyone's going to do it differently. We'll all have learned from different schools of thoughts, and we'll naturally be bringing in our own flavors and our own tools that we've gathered and learned and developed along the way. The history of hypnotherapy. Our story begins in the 18th century with Franz Anton Mesmer. Mesmer, a physician in Vienna, introduced the concept of animal magnetism and mesmerized Europe with his methods. Mesmer believed in a natural energetic transference that occurred between all animated and inanimate objects. Mesmer's fame skyrocketed, and he moved to Paris, seeking to compete with the leading physicians of the time. However, his unconventional methods, which were working, naturally attracted skepticism. It is so often the case that when you have something that works quickly, efficiently, sustainably, long-term results, people aren't going to like that. This is why I think the realm of medicine is so interesting, because medicine should be a support system and a guide to really access optimized health. People knowing that we have an inherent ability to heal ourselves. Capitalist business-wise, not so great. This is all fascinating. A pivotal moment in Mesmer's career was a thorough investigation by a panel led by King Louis XVI and Benjamin Franklin. They challenged his theories, leading to a decline in his popularity and credibility. This moment marked a significant turning point in the perception and application of hypnotic practices. Hypnotherapy is the longest, oldest form of psychotherapy. It's had an adult history, mainly because, as we're both seeing, other people go, we don't like that what you're doing works, stop that, and we're going to utilize our powers that be to shut this down. So fast forward to James Easdale, a Scottish surgeon who leveraged animal magnetism in India for pain control during surgeries. Easdale's approach was revolutionary, showing that the brain could significantly influence pain perception, which is a key principle in hypnotherapy. So brilliant. They didn't have access to drugs. So what they utilized was the power of the mind to dampen down, turn down, tune down the pain receptive aspect of the mind, which is so interesting. When I was working in a tattoo shop last year over the summer, we would utilize this for some clients who were very much open / they were so sick of being in pain after their day sessions. I'd step in and be like, right, let's get you into trance and let's switch this down. Brilliant, works, easy, straightforward. Enter Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Freud initially used hypnosis in his practice, exploring the unconscious mind's depths. His work led to the concept of transference, where patients project feelings onto their therapist. This was a major development in understanding human psychology and therapeutic relationships. Intriguingly, in his later years, Freud revisited the idea that direct suggestion in treatment could be impactful, showing his evolving understanding of the mind and hypnotherapy. This is fascinating in itself, Freud starting with hypnotherapy, moving away, like, I'm gonna do my own thing, and then returning with new knowledge and new understanding, returning nonetheless. And this is often the case with so many pop culture famous scientists, doctors, people of knowledge and fact. Really interesting. The guy who came up with germ theory, Louis Pasteur, went back on it towards the end of his career and was like, it's more to do with environment, sorry. And this has happened with a couple of other big names as well, including Darwin. They'll be like, this is my big theory, this is it. Then they'll keep working, then they'll keep researching, and then towards the end, like the tail end of their career, they'll be like, what I said, love that I said it, but I'd like to make some edits. People have already built businesses and systems and products around that theory, so they're like, just shut up. Be quiet. Really, how cool would it be that Freud, being as well known as he is, if it was Freud who started and ended his career on hypnotherapy instead of, yeah, Freud who, you know, he's like the opposite of Carl Jung. They both worked in the premise of the subconscious mind heavily. Someone was a bit more honest about it. Hypnotherapy was the precursor to modern psychotherapy. It introduced the idea that conversational therapy could have profound therapeutic benefits, which was a groundbreaking notion at the time. I feel like we're right now in a renaissance of true health modalities. True healing needs to be happen now. In England, the NHS, it's on its knees. We've got less and less resources. For me personally, I've done the whole functional medicine supplements game. Gets you so far, but so many of us who've experienced that chronic, unrelenting dis-ease, ill health, being out of balance with our true core selves, it breaks you after a certain point in time. And the novelty of, oh, maybe I'll try this, maybe a chiropractor will do it, maybe an osteopath. Why don't we just get to the root cause of what's going on? Why don't we just fix it? This is where the subconscious mind comes into play, and this is where the subconscious mind steps up and is like, I'm ready to shine. I had exactly what you needed the whole time. The subconscious understands that we needed to go and try everyone in the world apart from ourselves. There definitely came a point for me, and there comes a point for so many of my clients, where we go, right, let me do something truly radical. Let me work with myself. Let me see if I have the answers, which is so profound and so powerful, because we've been led to believe that we're the problem and we're this and we're just too sensitive and we need to be fixed and we're broken, which is true if you believe it. But the deeper truth is that the body's healing always, in all ways. The mind is forever on our side. The mind is working to the best of its ability with what it has. And what we have is the capability to work with our subconscious mind, gain those deep understandings, utilize this direct power of suggestion to create the outcomes and the understanding that we really want, so that we don't have to keep buying new supplements, showing up every week to the chiropractor or the osteopath or whatever it is to, please can you, or the herbalist, please can you help me? Please. And I find it fascinating that I'm fully studying this at the moment. I'm studying herbalism. I'm doing a whole naturopathy degree situation. It's so interesting because I want lifestyle interventions that also supplement and benefit us. I think a truly integrative approach to health allows space for everything. And I think the human being, we naturally want hierarchy to come into place. There's space for everything. Utilize your subconscious mind. Save yourself time. Save yourself the hassle of having to neck a bunch of supplements and do this and do that and get someone to crack your back, whatever it is. By creating a strong relationship with ourselves, with our subconscious, we are placing ourselves in a position of power and influence. While I cannot tell the rest of the world what to do, I can suggest to myself to create more safety and to create more of that sensation of I am okay to be me. I am allowed to have the reactions that I'm having. I am also allowed to find ways to support myself to understand why that's happening, and oh look, it's all to play for. I can unlock and release old reactions that are now hurting me and keeping me stuck and keeping me from sending the emails that I want to, for meeting the people that I know will find that's keeping me stuck and scared and oh, I couldn't do that. That's a belief, you know? I think it's such a fun game to go from buying the narrative I told myself to having that agency and the integrity to go, is that true or is that a belief that I've picked up? And if it is a belief, what can I do with that? Say if I'm sat here and I'm going, oh, I'd really love to work with that person. I'd love for them to be on my podcast. And maybe we'll notice a belief coming up. Oh, they're not going to come on. You'll never be healthy. You can't do this. People don't want you. Is that objectively true, or is this a belief that I've picked up? If it's a belief, watch me go work with that and understand what that belief's trying to do for me, what that belief is trying to benefit me with. And then again, we're bringing in the curiosity, the creativity, creating space to explore, rewire what needs to be rewired, integrate what's been left out in the cold, and create that sensation of balance and ease and safety within ourselves. So, a brilliant point as well, having spoken about the sensitivity piece, so many of us who are highly sensitive people, jury's out on whether an HSP is like a thing or whether it's ADHD and autism. What I would say to all of this is, oh look, it's different labels. Why don't we work with ourselves and our peers to, these labels could be the accurate labels for what it is that we're experiencing. What truly matters to me is what I'm experiencing. What truly matters to me is being able to meet myself and support myself on that deep level. So say if I do find it really hard to concentrate, oh look, I'm dysregulated, I'm experiencing CPTSD, or I was in the past. No wonder I can't concentrate, you know? I think it's a shame when we pathologize and label things and leave it at that. For me, all of the different labels that I've experienced through the years is an opportunity to, yep, okay, I'm going to use this identification point to then take it to the subconscious, or I'm going to do further research. The autism piece. Let me break down what autism actually is. Okay, we've got these things going on. Nervous system dysregulation, my body's not great at detoxing, fine, I can work with that. My liver function, ooh, it's all a bit congested there. We've got a generational piece here, perfect, amazing. Now I've got different things that I can explore and work with. Cool. And I've got this subconscious support piece that can guide me. So say in terms of nervous system dysregulation, let's work with the subconscious to create a baseline of regulation. Digestive issue, going to be dysregulated with the dysregulated nervous system. However, maybe there's a belief that also is driving that congestion, that inability to digest. What else in my life do I find really challenging to digest? So you see what the approach here is. It's taking the physical symptom and finding the emotional connections and then working with that feeling that's driving everything else. Taking us from a place of, well, do I need to get a doctorate or a PhD in order to be able to help myself, to, oh, this is interesting and this is curious. And I have the opportunity, the privilege, the agency to really look at this and find those connections and take these really scary symptoms, break it down. Oh, look, what I thought was an irrational response to something, given my experiences in the past, given the other things that I'm living through, given the beliefs that I have been holding on to about myself, that mysterious reaction, be it migraines, indigestion, chronic bloating, PMDD, PMS, anxiety, various phobias, complete sense. Of course I reacted that way. Perfect. Now let's go back to the root cause, nourish, support, and help that. And oh look, those physical symptoms aren't relevant anymore. They don't have an anchor. It's going, it's gone. And for those of us who do experience ADHD, autism, that sensitivity piece, it's likely that we have something called the COMT gene, a COMT gene, This is fascinating because those of us who have that gene are going to be highly suggestible. We are genetically primed for hypnosis. And this is one of the many reasons why I believe that for those of us that experience ADHD or autism, if you're more of an identity first person, if you are autistic, you are ADHD, it's all perfect. This hypnotherapy piece is genetically beneficial to us. It creates safety, it regulates us, it allows us to ask all of those questions that we're constantly having. It allows us to give voice to the parts of ourselves which maybe otherwise we don't yet have the interoception piece to connect with and understand. Working with our subconscious mind is like a huge leveler. We can really get into what's going on and bring in that understanding. We both know that understanding is power, and with power we can create change. We can make different choices. We're bringing that element of choice back into our lives. I know for me, for so many years, I felt like I didn't have a choice over anything. It felt like life was simply happening to me, and all that I could do was respond to it as best. See, crying, overwhelm, shut down, freeze. Those were my go-to responses for such a long time. I didn't have the education and the insight that working with my subconscious mind has given me yet. And for those of us who are completely new to this journey, for someone who's completely new to this and they're going, okay, like this Josephine lady, she seems nice, maybe we could work together. And you're going, right, but I don't even know what the problem is. I don't need you to know what the problem is. I'm gonna do that. That's my job. All I need, or all that is ideal for my new clients coming into my world who want to work together to create that optimization, safety, that true access to our authentic selves, all I need from you is an openness. And it doesn't even have to be this, an openness. Maybe things could be different. Maybe I am an okay person. Maybe I could learn to potentially see that I might be an okay person. It's that little gap. It's that little gap that we can honor and recognize and create more safety and imbue that space with. We can do this. We can journey together. We can create that space within yourself that feels safe to explore further. Safety, safety, safety for those of us who have experienced what it's like to be so sensitive to the world and have that be shamed and, oh, you're just so sensitive. You aren't paying any attention is what I always want to respond. Honoring ourselves in a world that has not honored us. Giving ourselves that ability and that gift of, well, I see you. And I love you, and I recognize that this has been absolutely horrendous from the moment that you've gained cognizance. Let's change this. Let's create safety to change. Let's create safety, 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 safety. And what does safety mean to me? Saying this word so much. Safety to me means I know that regardless of what happens, I will still be here and be present for the outcome. Safety to me means I can hold myself through this. It's this feeling. I'm much more feelings led than words led, would you believe? Think about how much I talk and I feel more than I speak. But it's intense for us. And that's why the safety piece is so important, because we're exceptional human beings. We experience the most, we experience more, we think deeper, we go further, we commit more, we obsess. To me, obsession is a standard level of interest. Why don't you care more? Safety is holding that container and that time and that place to work it out and to be able to get things wrong and to go, I'm going to be so interested in this. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it feels true for me. For so many of us who've been depressed and anxious and all of the things, the safety piece feels like it wasn't there in the first place, or it's eroded and it's gone. And showing up, working with our subconscious mind, showing ourselves, feeling how powerful and influential we are. Hypnotherapy really gives us this opportunity to deeply understand the profound experience that is the human mind. And this is beautiful, and it can be so positively impactful to us. I would be very discerning as to who you work with. I would really find someone that you feel like you trust and they're on a similar path, a similar level of understanding as you. And you can do that through when you're speaking with someone, maybe you're doing an intro call. How is receiving them landing in your body? When you're talking to them, does it feel activating, like, oh yeah, like this is really good, but also I feel kind of the same way I did when I was around my ex-boyfriend and he used to make me feel butterflies, but it turns out that was the anxiety. Or Is it more the case that you're speaking with that potential new hypnotherapist who you're going to work with and you're like, yeah, I feel understood here. I feel held. I feel like, well, obviously we're not the same person. That would be weird. They get it and they get me and they're interested and curious in my take, and they seem so confident and able to guide and hold me through this process. If you are looking to experience hypnotherapy, please check out my other videos. I have an ADHD one coming up on how to create safety within the body. And like we were saying about the labels piece before, that video is not just for someone who experiences ADHD. We all need safety. So my name is Josephine K. I'm a hypnotherapy practitioner and a rapid transformational therapist. If you would be interested in working together, I have multiple entry points. I have intake calls, meeting calls that we can do together so you can get a feel for each other and be like, okay, interesting, love this, let's go. If you're more of a writer, I have a written intake form that's also linked below, alongside my podcast, Instagram, TikTok. I wanted to put out as many touch points so people can get a feel for me before, because I know a big barrier for me investing in, hiring, working with new people to help me expand my experience of life. I don't know what they're gonna be like. So this, albeit, is more of like a ramped up, hi, we're making a YouTube video version. But I know that you can feel my intentions. I'm here from a place of curiosity and creativity. I like to create connection that really feels so good and so wonderful, and build minds, setting up, and I love to set up minds for success. Working with that subconscious mind to really get us to understand those big pieces which can feel so heavy and all the rest of it. Okay, thanks for journeying with me. Thank you, Anton Mesmer. Mixed results, but thank you for being a pioneer in this field. If you want to look into anyone else, I really recommend Dr. David Spiegel. He works at Stanford and he's fascinating. He's really gone for gold in taking hypnotherapy and studying it within like the upper echelon that is Stanford University. So thank you for journeying with me, and I will see you very soon.